to settle the unresolved outcome of that night in London for good.
We both just wanted to cause as much damage to each other as possible.
The build-up, just as expected, has been a back-and-forth battle of words and egos. Though as the two touch gloves in the center of the ring, it all becomes irrelevant.
They're both going to be throwing leather, so if one of them connects really well, it's going to be a whole different situation in the first fight.
And ultimately, the man who can better assert his game plan will prevail.
Usually two novices end up going to war.
Neither lack confidence or heart, but who has the better composure?
Talking to him.
Logan, looking to impose his size and power, will hope to stay on the outside, throwing occasional 1-2s to negate the distance. Something that worked in the first fight until fatigue set in during the later rounds. JJ, on the other hand, will be using footwork, lateral movement, and speed in his favor, throwing flurries, being the more active and looking to get on the inside. In the first fight, with success from the pull counter, he made Logan pay for his mistakes, especially later on. And with a bit more clinical punching and creative offense, the Brit could capitalize this time around. Though, with contrasting early success, Logan landed the much more damaging shots. And where his dropped hands and taunting led his opponent back into the fight, this time around, under his new heavyweight mentor, he might not be so forgiving. A night that brings something truly special, welcoming fresh eyes and testing the borders of uncertainty in terms of professional boxing. Two charismatic, flashy, and outspoken characters, superstars in their own right. And whether it may be circus, an opportunity, or indeed a sporting revolution, the bright lights will swing onto the 16 by 20 foot canvas at the Staples Center. You will be entertained.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose. I can't lose. I can't lose.
KSI versus Logan Paul.
I am as invincible as they can come at this point in my life.
The alpha blood, the alpha blood.
Goody Corona has one of the more unusual trajectories in professional boxing. You see, he only fights himself. In a 12-year professional career, he's had the unusual score of 24-24-2, which pales in comparison to his amateur record of 55-55-16. There's no real explanation for how these fights play out, just that it seems to happen again and again. All we know is we're beside ourselves at a Motivedia presentation.
I think this happens a lot in my life. A lot of people say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. That will never happen. And then I always make it happen.
There is so much confidence that comes with actual skill.
I'm major impressed. I think this kid could be heavyweight champion in the world in 4 or 5 years.
I have to be honest with you, someone is getting knocked out in Los Angeles on November the 9th.
A circus, an opportunity, or a sporting revolution. Three contrasting perspectives which only help magnify the most divisive night of the boxing calendar.
Let's get ready!
Though controversy sells, and you'll have a tough time finding two more outspoken, confident, and extravagant stars of the modern era.
I can't wait to finish you off, bro.
Especially two that, at the heights of their success, have such a genuine and transparent dislike for one another.
I might kill this man. I might kill this man.
So whilst an already phenomenal 2019 has kept the boxing purists on the edge of their seats, here we welcome the new school. In a professionally induced 10-ounce cruiserweight showdown that continues to test the boundaries of modern sport. We see the boxing and YouTube worlds combine, and the United States and United Kingdom collide.
Winston Churchill would be ashamed.
To help our channel grow, please click the thumbs up button, subscribe, and press the bell button to receive notifications. As we take a closer look at a double debut to the professional ranks, with a twist.
I can't wait to just get in the ring and show the world, how good I am.
One that explores new horizons, one that guarantees fireworks, and one that settles an intense rivalry between two of the modern era's most idolized stars. KSI versus Logan Paul. Welcome to a Motivedia presentation. In the final few weeks leading up to a fight, the pressure, the risk, and the dangers become a daunting reality. And so, in one of boxing's most iconic Las Vegas gyms, alongside some of the sport's biggest names, JJ KSI has surrounded himself with fighters who are all too familiar with those fight week feelings. Improving by the day, put through a grueling and elite-level regime, he vows to show the world just how good he really is.
And there's nothing he can do. I'm going to bring him into deep waters, and he's going to drown in that mother...
An all-or-nothing character with a competitive edge. KSI, much like his American rival, does nothing by half. And now, after an arduous camp, he finds comfort, maybe even belonging, in a place he would have never dreamed of.
I'm always pushing the boundaries. That's just how I am.
Bringing a mixture of speed, power, and confidence, combined with the trademark Mayweather-esque flair. The first bout saw KSI utilizing the pull counter, timing his opponent, and picking his shots brilliantly. Only faltering through composure due to a lack of experience, almost pulling off a late final round stoppage. This time around, with another airtight training camp, Logan might not be so lucky.
There's 100% going to be a knockout. And I'm putting Logan to sleep.
After seeing the calm, relaxed attitude in the press conference, the continuous improvement and dedication, and that heated sparring footage, the Brit looks as primed, serious, and ready as ever.
Last year was cute, and I kind of knew what I was doing. This year, I'm gonna be violent.
Hearing out of both camps that Logan Paul looks great, and he's knocking people out in
He's
sparring.
going to have to just fight. He's not going to technically be able to outbox Logan, I believe. He's going to have to turn it into a war.
Moving 300 miles southwest to Encino, LA, we swap Jeff Mayweather and Vidal Riley for a much different yet equally certified lineup.
Here comes the champ.
What it do, what it does, where you been, where you was, what it ain't, what it
And
is.
training on home turf, just a half-hour drive from the Staples Center. The attitude intensifies. Under the guidance of former world heavyweight champion Shannon Briggs, the American is in good hands.
A warrior dog. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ.
A formidable puncher and icon of his generation, Briggs' first-hand experience at world level and his 37 first-round knockouts speaks for itself. Coming into the fight as the bigger, stronger, and more aggressive of the two, Briggs looks to fine-tune Logan's style to that of his rival.
What can we expect from your man come fight night?
To utilize his advantages and to mark a knockout of his own to his professional tally.
I'll give you that. You got heart, but it won't matter. I think you know that.
Having a background of wrestling and college football, Paul enters with the more competitive sporting background, something he believes gives him an edge, putting emphasis on how quickly he progressed at each during his college years.
I absorb energy, so the crowd's going to be cheering, and I'm going to transfer to my fists and smash this man's face in.
Entering the bout with unwavering self-belief in his skill, power, and athleticism, convinced the bout ends only one way. He appears to be training with the same commitment and discipline, covering all the bases, leaving very little to split the two.
Because November 9th now is the only day in my life that matters. That's it.
And for an event expected to gross $150 million, and with so much on the line, it's clear to see why. Though it's not until you put the two side by side, things really start to get interesting. Entering the fight 2 years younger at 24, Logan takes most of the advantages on paper. At 6'2", he brings a 2-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Experience-wise, both come in as debutantes to the professional game, and thus broadening their relative social media audiences to the entire sporting world.
People curiosity want to see who the hell's going to win.
They swapped 12-ounce gloves for 10 and removed the head guards to settle the unresolved outcome of that night in London for good.
And we both just wanted to cause as much damage to each other as possible.
The build-up, just as expected, has been a back-and-forth battle of words and egos. Though as the two touch gloves in the center of the ring, it all becomes irrelevant.
They're both going to be throwing leather, so if one of them connects really well, it's going to be a whole different situation than the first fight.
And ultimately, the man who can better assert his game plan will prevail.
Usually two novices end up going to war.
Neither lack confidence or heart, but who has the better composure? Logan, looking to impose his size and power, will hope to stay on the outside, throwing occasional 1-2s to negate the distance. Something that worked in the first fight until fatigue set in during the later rounds. JJ, on the other hand, will be using footwork, lateral movement, and speed in his favor, throwing flurries, being the more active and looking to get on the inside. In the first fight, with success from the pull counter,